All right, so if you ever run into a situation where you're changing out a door from one side to the other, this used to open up the other way, which was in the middle of the room, so we wanted it to open up the other way. You're gonna have, and if you use the same frame, you're gonna have these little openings here where the hinges were that you need to close off. I'm gonna show you how to close these off in this video. And the first step you wanna do is you wanna make a piece of wood to fill in that area, so when you put some I'm going to use Bondo or some wood filler to get any little imperfections out. But you got to first put some wood in, or else if you don't do that and you try to fill this with like Bondo or something, or even epoxy, that's a lot of epoxy you have to use. To eliminate that, you're just going to fill it in with some wood. And what I'm using is some shims. These are some leftover shims from the frame of the door that I had. All right, first thing, take your old hinge, put it on the shim like that, and just mark where you need to cut to get the same shape. All right, there you have it right there. That's what I need to cut. And what I do is take some little pliers, dikes, and just kind of trim off that little extra. It's soft wood on these shims, so it's really easy to cut. Okay, now you could use the sandpaper to sand this down, but because I got an air sander or angled die grinder with a, I think this is a 36 grit pad, it'll go through it like butter. All right, next take your piece and just make sure it fits in there. If it doesn't fit, go ahead and grind a little bit more off the bottom or the top, wherever it's not fitting. All right, so I got 3 of them now, ready to be glued. I'm gonna take some Tight Bond wood glue here, and I'll put it on the back. All right, get the glue on. You could even glue the edges if you want. Get it in place. You could brad nail it if you wanted to. At the top. All right, and that's how it looks. Let the glue dry. Make sure that's nice and pushed down. And you can see it's a little bit high. Don't worry about that. You come back and sand that down. Next, I got a Block, it's a sanding block with 80 grit. I'm just going to go over it, smooth it out so it's as smooth all the way across. Just go until you can not really feel it, a lip anymore. Okay, now you see this is kind of a rounded edge, so you're just going to take the sanding block and just kind of round that edge here. All right, take a look at that. Nice and smooth from top to bottom. Nice profile, pretty smooth there. Now this 80 grit's kind of harsh, so you might want to get like a 150 or 220 and smooth it down a little bit more. But yeah, that's pretty good. Doesn't look like I need much filler. So any plastic filler will fill any imperfections, or you can buy this wood filler. This actually has grains of sawdust in it, and that'll work as well. But this is pretty good. It almost looks like you don't need almost nothing. Maybe just from where my stapler was right here is a little imperfection. It's looking pretty good. So repeat that on this one and that one, and you should be good for painting. All right, so we're done with this side. You're gonna have probably the other side you gotta fill too. So what I do is I took this off. That gives you the measurement of what you need. I got a 1/4 inch by 1 3/8 piece of wood here from the local hardware store. Flip it over. And we'll mark where we need to cut it. Same thing, we'll just round off this edge. All right, we'll let that dry and then do the same steps. We'll grind it down. Made it a little bit too thick, but it's okay. A little more sanding to do. All right, there it is. The filler is dry. It only takes like 5 minutes. Sanding block. All right, guys, I'm gonna end the video here. I used a 180 grit for a final sanding, and that's all it needed. Okay, if there's any little imperfections, the primer and the paint will fill them in. But you can see it's pretty smooth. Okay, I just did 1 coat. You can do a couple if you're working on your house and it's not perfect. You could always go over it twice. So right here, you can still see the nail. That nail staple right there, the head, that'll go away when I primer it and paint it, so that's not a big deal. And over here I put another little piece here. It was only, the shim's only wide enough to do part of it, so the rest I just filled in with the wood filler, and you can see it's pretty nice. And the edge over that edge with the sandpaper, and just make sure it's smooth with your finger, and you won't notice it when you paint it. All right, a couple other little imperfections I got out. That's it for this video. That's how you fill in the door frame or anything that needs filling with wood. Like I said, I use those shims because it's pine wood. It's easy to sand. Okay, they sell them in the bulk over there at any hardware supply store or Amazon. So that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully this has helped some of you guys out that are going through the same thing that I went through, where I wanted to change out the door, but I didn't want to have to change out the whole frame. And yeah, came out real nice. And once it's painted, you won't even know that was ever a little hole there on any of this.